All right, guys, what's happening? What's happening? Happy Friday to you. It is Friday, February 18th, 2022. This morning, we're going to talk about the power of relationships overall, but really the importance of nurturing relationships, and what that means for your life, how it can help you in life to make sure that those relationships that you have on all fronts, by the way, personal, business, etc., how nurturing relationships will change your life. That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right, guys, what's happening? Happy Friday to you, man. It's been a crazy week for me, man. From last week at this time to now, it has just been a bit of a crazy ride. Lots of travel, lots of meeting new people at the event that I was at this week in Dallas. Just met a ton of new people, a bunch of roofing people and solar folks, and what a joy it was to meet those people. And so that got me thinking about just the power of relationships. I had a call last night with somebody that's become a really dear friend over the last handful of years. I'm going to an event in April that is literally something that years ago I would have dreamed of, being able to have access to and be able to, sit at the same table as someone like the friend that Lori and I are going with, the friends that Lori and I are going with. And it got me thinking, man, about all these interactions that I've had, the relationships that I've established with all of you guys who just show up here and watch every morning, and you've become friends and in some cases like family to us. And I got thinking about just how important it is to never lose track of nurturing those relationships. And I want to remind you guys of this because I know that life gets crazy, and when we're in the beginning of the year, January, February, many times we're focused on whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish for that year, right? We have our New Year's resolutions, our New Year's goals, if you will. And sometimes we can lose track of exactly how we need to get there. And this goes for, on the business side, the clients, your coworkers, your employees, if you're a business owner or a leader. Nurturing relationships, guys, is everything. And how you nurture those relationships will 100% increase the speed of trust. It will impact the way that people do business with you. It will create relationships that go far beyond business, right? Those relationships that maybe start by you having a service or a product that people need and want, but ultimately over a period of time, those relationships, when you nurture them properly, they become incredible friendships. Somebody once told me that you don't need more friends, you just need more clients that become friends, and that's a great example of how to look at something from a relationship nurturing standpoint. One of the things that I teach and preach a lot is the idea of really making sure that you're reconnecting with people who are important to you in your life, right? And we'll dig into that this morning. We'll dig into lots of other skills and tools on how to properly nurture relationships. But first, as always, I want to say good morning to some folks. What's happening, Gary Script? Daniel Good, Ed, what's happening, man? Mike Lazewski, good morning to you, brother. Brett, Christina, Dina, Scott, Alton, Tammy Clark, my girl out there on the West Coast at 5 a.m., always here. Thank you, Tammy, for being here. And thank you guys, all of you, for being here this morning and hanging with me on this snowy Friday in Pittsburgh. Tony and Todd, what's happening, guys? Good morning to you, man. So nurturing relationships, there is a science to this. There is a system and a process of how you can do this. One of the things that we do here at the Pavement Group is we try to reconnect with our clients as often as possible, right? When you talk about the importance of how you actually deepen relationships, it is so important to make sure that reconnection, so that rhythm of how you reconnect or how often you're talking to clients is so incredibly important in nurturing that relationship. And so there are a handful of things that you want to do when it comes to nurturing relationships that I think are really important. This is something that I learned in the Arete Syndicate, but I'm going to give you guys 4 tactical steps to create unbelievable relationships with anybody in your life. And this is something that Andy Frisella taught us in the Arete Syndicate. I have been using this for years in my own life, in business, and I've been teaching it to people for a long time. This is, if you guys don't have a notepad, I will drop this in the comments afterwards, or you can send me a DM and I'll pop this into your DMs this morning here after we're done. So this is an acronym, and the acronym is STIR. So STIR. The S is for surprise. So studies show that there is a direct connection between surprises and happiness. You know, you get something in the mail that you're not expecting. People get just a lot happier when they get something that they're not expecting, right? If you get a card in the mail, you get a gift from somebody. And so we practice that a lot. We try to send things out. I try to do that through Top Contractor School, right? I try to really send out things here and there, whether it's a handwritten card or something with a Top Contractor School logo, a Yeti cup, a sweatshirt, whatever it may be. I try to send those out on a fairly regular basis to people just so that they feel appreciated, right? They feel seen, and it's always nice to get a surprise. So surprise is number 1. Number 2, the number 2 method to deepen relationships and really nurture those relationships that you want to take to the next level is teaching. So, you know, having a culture where you're educating your clients, you're educating those people around you, you're providing them with information, whether it's, you'll see me a lot of times shipping out. So I'll kind of combine the first one and the second one. I'll combine surprise and teaching. I'll send people books, right? So I'll send people books that I've read. And in a lot of cases, you know, they'll reach out to me and say, man, thanks for the book. And I'll tell them why I sent it to them, what I learned out of there, where they should look for the information that'll be most impactful to them. But that constant teaching of people will help nurture relationships. If you're in business, providing people information about things that they may not know that you might be an expert at is a great way to deepen and nurture relationships. The third thing is inefficiencies. So the value is in the inefficient things that you do. So you create value in your relationships by doing things that are inefficient. Again, handwriting cards. You know, in today's world, there's tons of automated systems that you can send out cards through. But when you take the time to handwrite it, it has a different impact. Maybe helping somebody out with something that, you know, based on the value of your time, it may be a negative return on investment. But those things that you go out of your way to do, they really, really help when it comes to nurturing relationships and taking those things to the next level. Just reaching out and saying hello to people. You know, I remember this during 2020 when COVID was in full swing. Just reaching out to our contractors, reaching out to our clients, just to see how they're doing. Not to talk about business, not to talk about anything money related or how are we going to, you know, get through this. Just to say like, hey, how are you? You doing okay? How's the family? Everybody healthy? Everything okay? Anything we can do for you? You know, from a personal standpoint, right? And so think about that. What are the inefficient things that you can do that really show people that you care, that relationship is meaningful to you, that you really want to nurture it and take it to the next level? And the last one, definitely last, but certainly not least, is reconnection. And the analogy that I use all the time is, you know, your cell phone, right? You charge it up to 100, but as soon as you take it off that charger, man, it starts to deplete the charge that is in there. Time does that to our enthusiasm as well. So no matter how great of a relationship you have with a client, with a coworker, with somebody on your team, time will always make people's enthusiasm about your relationship and connection drop. Just like the charge on your cell phone, regardless of how much of an impact you have made with them during an interaction, it takes constant and scheduled reconnection on a regular basis to maintain and improve every relationship that you have. This can be done through phone calls. It can be done through personalized emails, not some bulk email that goes out. Video messages that you can send to them, surprise packages. I use this phone that's in my hand a lot for selfie video messages. So I'll just send a selfie video message to someone that I really appreciate, and I want it to be more personal than just a text or just an email. And so I just send them a message that says, hey, man, really appreciate you. Was just thinking about you this morning. Here's why I've appreciated you over the years. I've seen your posts on social media. This is how they've impacted me, whatever it may be. But that constant and scheduled reconnection, I promise you this, if you take that seriously and every 3 weeks, you actually intentionally reconnect with someone over a period of months, right? Over the period of 3 or 4 months, when you are constantly reconnecting with somebody at a minimum of every 3 weeks, wait until you see what happens to that relationship that you have. Wait until you see how important they feel when you shout them out on social media or you send them a handwritten card. And by the way, guys, this is not a gimmick. This is just real life reconnection. Like, do you care enough to reach out and say hello? And this is something that should be common in your life. Like, I send these messages on a regular basis of like, hey, man, was just sitting here thinking about all the important people in my life, and you're one of them. Just want you to know that. And so I want you guys to think about that. How are you nurturing relationships in your own life? And ask yourself this question: are you giving or are you taking? And if you're doing both, that's how it's supposed to work, right? If there's a give and take in a relationship, that's how it's supposed to work. But sometimes to establish a relationship, sometimes you have to do more work than the other person just to get it moving, right? But as you get it moving and you have this constant and scheduled reconnection, you're constantly surprising people with cool things or with cool messages. You're constantly educating other people, and you are committed to doing those things that are inefficient to show that you care, to show how much you care. That's what it's about. And so it is about doing all of these things consistently. And that is how we nurture relationships. This is how I personally have been able to establish relationships with people that are absolutely incredible. And they have influence beyond what I would have ever imagined that I could be friends with. Right. And these are real relationships, people that when I get off the phone, we tell each other we love each other. They become real friendships and real relationships that are meaningful. And it doesn't matter how often you see these people in person. They're real relationships that turn into just such valuable parts of your life. And those things in a lot of cases will turn into incredible opportunities for you as well. But these relationships happen through constant and consistent nurturing. And so the frequency and consistency that you do this with will determine how deep the relationships are that you establish, how far those relationships will take you, and really how full your life is. And so I wanted to share this with you guys on a Friday. I know that a lot of times the reconnection that I do, the things that I send out are on the weekends, when I have a little bit more time to think and process, and, people tend to jump into my mind, and I'll just send them a message, and so I hope that this message finds you this Friday in a place where maybe this weekend you'll have some time to reconnect with some people, maybe send out some surprises, maybe send somebody a couple of books or teach them in some way, shape, or form. Think of something that they might need to know that you could share with them. And I promise you, when you do this, not only will you make that other person feel great, but you'll feel great too. So, and it is Friday, guys. So as always, we will say, make sure that you go out like a lion today. Don't go out like a mouse, man. Don't be like the rest of the world that starts checking their watch at 10 o'clock in the morning and thinking about what they're going to be doing this weekend. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are a massive percentage of your life. Don't half-step them, guys. Go to the whistle today. Play to the whistle. Go out like a lion. Don't go out like a mouse. I love you guys. Thanks for being here, and I will see you again Monday morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. Love you guys.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.